I don't think anybody's going to mind if I pop on here 1 minute early. I know everybody's time is super, super valuable, but wanted to come on and address you guys in the Friday live stream. Want to welcome everybody. Take this opportunity. I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about something that's actually become a little bit personal to me with regard to investing for the long term, not getting caught up in the short term. So just want to welcome everybody. Want to remind everybody that they can leave their comments in the comment section as well. And look for the invite. You're cordially invited. If you want to come on to the live stream, it adds a nice dynamic to it. If you don't, no problem. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Independent Investor Channel live stream, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Guys, stick around. Going to have some fun tonight. Welcome the crew tonight. Absolutely. First and foremost, we've got Dan with Ethos Investing in the house, and Blood Phantoms in the house as well. These guys have got killer channels. You want to check them out. Alex with Blood Phantom, fantastic, man. It's awesome. I feel like I have somewhat of a responsibility to continue to roll this message out as we've done here for a few years now. I honestly approach this as if it's a fairly new project for me. I typically don't look at time the way other folks look at time. I'm very, very excited about some of the expansion projects that we've been making on the channel. I don't have I3 in the works, and I don't have I4. So if you guys are waiting for those different layers of the Independent Investor Channel, I hate to disappoint you. There's only going to be one Independent Investor Channel, and couldn't be prouder of the project. Really couldn't be prouder of the results that we're rendering. Certainly, I know subscriber base and monetization and all that stuff are a couple metrics that are used to weigh success on YouTube. It's not one of those things that I really put a whole lot of attention and value to. I really do contend that if you take and you share the message based on some piece of information that you picked up, some sort of an awareness piece on the channel, that's what I'm more interested in, to be honest. I was asked before the live stream if I followed certain influencers, etc. I don't do that. I don't. I advocate for a message that really would put you in the driver's seat. I think all too often people fall victim to followership all the time. And I do think followership does have a place. I do. I think to be a good leader, I think you do have to be able to follow at times. But I didn't roll out this opportunity for fame and fortune. I really didn't. I was very disappointed by some of the language that I felt like a lot of new investors were being succumbed to. And I think, to speak bluntly, we're getting the wrong idea about what the stock market's all about. And the unfortunate part about social media is it puts you, boom, right there in your face all the time. It's right there in your face all the time. And I think younger generations and older generations can fall victim to this same tragedy when it comes to investing, is that you start seeking out a daily upload, or even maybe an upload on YouTube every couple days, 2, 3, 4 days, whatever, once a week even, and you expect some sort of result from consuming that content. Investing really just doesn't work that way. And just here recently, I've kind of entered into one of my swoons, and I am very aware of when I do enter into those, and I have to really fall back to the very roots and the very fundamentals of my investing thesis and my investing goals and program going forward. Now, the channel is no different. So there are certain people in this community that really do mean the world to me. All Good is one of them, absolutely. Just one of those supporters of the message that doesn't have to support the message, but does, just because she genuinely feels like she's part of the community, and she is. Becky is another one of those folks that has come to the message and really become a student of the game. And she would be one of those folks that I would consider empowered. And I know there's a lot of people out there that would also fall into that category. And had they not maybe found the message, and I think in a lot of cases, I think a lot of people can solve a lot of their investing, get over a lot of their investing barriers, a lot of their barriers to entry in investing by just fine tuning their excitement for investing. In other words, I've done a couple meetings here recently where the very solution to each and every one of those investors' issues was organization. Really was. They were all over the place, right? And they thought that they were doing good and they thought they were doing right. But by actually simplifying their investment thesis, by simplifying the very accounts that they held, and allowed them not to be so spread out in their application, actually allowed them to take on a little bit more streamlined of a program and actually make their investing life not be so spread out, and therefore rendering a little bit more enjoyment in this investing gig. And I think that's super, super important. For you guys that are new to the Independent Investor channel, we roll this out once a week. We're really looking to speak to those folks that maybe have been investing for a while. Money's a fickle topic. It's really funny. It's amazing to me how many people I talk to who they already know it all. They don't want to hear squat for squat from nobody. And I think that's unfortunate. I really do. I absolutely look forward to hearing all kinds of different opinions. Now, there are differing opinions, certainly. I've been frequenting some of those social media circles, and it's really too bad. There was a comment before the live stream tonight talking about how the SPAC community is bleeding right now. I don't see it that way. I really don't. I just don't see it that way. I think because maybe something is contrary to what you perceived it to be, therefore in your mind you think that these SPACs are bleeding, for a lack of better terms. Man, these are new companies, man. These are new companies, and they're coming to market in a roundabout way. I think it's fabulous. I think it's fabulous for the market. The thing about it is we really don't have that much precedence, and that's part of the issue. And I explained it last week, especially because I get asked about my holding in Hyliion. And I'll just declare to you guys, I've sold the position in stock, but I've tripled the position in warrants. So, and it's taking every bit of my expertise to leverage my position in the way that I have. And if it works out, it will be one for the ages. It really will, because my bullish thesis hasn't changed. I frequent these circles on social media as well, and contend that the company's stronger now at $23 a share than it was at 50. You know, I mean, these guys are making deals all over the place. But I think it comes back to my fundamental premise that couple things. I've always contended to have fair expectations about the market. And I really think a lot of people absolutely expected to get rich. I really do. And you need to get over that. Sorry. Don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but until I find reciprocating messages on YouTube that I can actually get behind, and there's a few channels on YouTube that I will take the time to actually watch. I do support many more channels, but I think a lot of channels fail to acknowledge that new investors need to be in a very narrow lane when they start investing in the stock market. And I really hope that shines through. You can see my background is black and white. I typically try to approach this live stream like we're taking a lot of gray matter. And I've always contended that the investing landscape is dirty. It's freaking dirty. And nowadays, with the power of social media, and I say power tongue in cheek because I think power can be very misleading. Honestly, I think you'd be confused to catch some of these messages right now and try to make any sense of how to just stay in a very narrow lane and get yourself some exposure to the stock market in a way that makes sense for you. And it makes sense in a way that you've taken a step back and said, why am I investing in the first place? That's one of those questions that I think are missed all the time. And I think based on some of the comments that I've read on not necessarily the broader SPAC community, that's why I can't speak on that. Perhaps Jason with JMac Investing is in the group who is really a lot more up to speed on the SPAC investing opportunity. And I do believe it is just that. But you have to be aware of what you're getting into. And I don't think a lot of people understand what they were getting into with Hyliion either. I really don't. So to define that risk and ask yourself, why are you investing? And I think if you were to ask a lot of those people who were piling into the stock into the 40s and 50s, I think that they would have struggled to justify why they were entering into the stock. Now, let's say they were able to stumble through why I'm investing in the stock. I think we go to the next issue, and the assessment of risk piece really gets missed, because I think a lot of people were talking about doing due diligence. I freaking laugh at that. I reviewed every SEC document. I reviewed every single audio cast that the company put out. I reviewed the investor presentation multiple times to the point where I started to commit a lot of it to memory. Insofar as I released a podcast on Hyliion from memory. And again, it doesn't change my bullish thesis on the company, but am I so arrogant to consider that DD? Not so much. You know, this company is set to report November 5th. We've still got a float of shares warrants that are up in the air to see what the company is going to do, whether or not they're going to call those for exercise. It's a float of, I believe, 31 million. And I'm betting that they do the right thing. And the right thing will be to call those for exercise. I don't believe they're going to provide a cash equivalency. I think that would be pretty shady, to be honest with you. I think they're going to do what Nikola did, and I hope they do. And I'll make out like a bandit if they do. But the difference between myself and what I'm monitoring, and it doesn't just speak to specific names, it speaks across the board when investors get involved in even a company like Altria Group or Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer or 3M. It doesn't matter. Every single asset that you engage in has to have a strategic end. In other words, can you see yourself holding the stock for a minimum of 5 years? Okay. And if you do end up doing due diligence on a company like 3M, certainly you can make the justification to enter into the name. The problem I find all the time is that they base their decision, or newer investors base their decisions based on historical performance, and fail to acknowledge the potential risk, or the potential for headline risk, or the potential for geopolitical risk, or the potential for margin contraction, right? And these things you can't foresee. And that's why I want to help you guys understand the difference between the passive program that I feel like is so applicable to all investors. And a lot of people are going to be like, that's boring, Ryan. Well, look, I mean, can you handle losing money? Can you handle paper losses, for a lack of better terms? If you can't handle that, why engage in planned failure anyway? Give yourself a fighting chance. Start to deploy some of those strategies that I talk about and establishing other buckets. That's why it makes these situations like the one I'm currently in. I mean, your pain can be, or my pain can be your pleasure, to be honest with you. I left $20,000 on the shelf. Am I losing sleep over it? Not in the least. Not in the least. Hyliion is a relatively small position in my portfolio. I'm super excited to be provided the opportunity to basically triple up my position in warrants right here. And, you know, we'll see what ends up happening. But when I see a lot of circles trying to say it's going to go to 20, it's going to go to 18, it's going to go to 1 cent, it's going to go for blah, blah, blah. It doesn't, none of it matters. None of it. Because again, I come back, look, if you're long the stock And I'm talking, look, man, if you want to be fair, give it 365 freaking days. But what you can't do is come to me and say, man, this is horrible. Man, it looks like the stock's going to $20. And you've got a time horizon that lasts a month. Guys, they haven't even reported their first set of earnings. And to speak to the broader context of single stock investing, man, I look back over the history of my investing, man, and we got in this last Friday on the live stream with Matt Money and Kyle as well with passive income, and we were talking about some of our worst investments ever. And I've had some doozies, man. I really have. General Electric comes to my mind. Kraft Heinz Food comes to my mind. I have pending litigation right now on a company named Adeptus Health, right? So this does happen. It does happen. And I could do one of two things. I could say, woe is me. I suck. I'm never going to invest again. That's not an option. But you do have to learn from those lessons, and you really do need to make sure that you're keeping the investing opportunity in check. Okay, you really do. And in each of those cases, there were some pretty big losses on the book. I did everything I could possibly do to salvage those positions over time. But I do think it speaks to the broader issue that now I've made up 5x, 6x times the money on other investments that have worked out, right? Swing trading activity that I've been able to make up in the portfolio. So those losses are going to happen, but I never entered into the stock market with the expectation that somehow it was my oyster and I was going to conquer it. It doesn't work that way. And each and every one of these investments, I'm actually very, very much monitoring the landscape for new opportunity. I just happen to be a long holder of Hyliion at this current juncture, and I'm learning a lot watching the price action. Some folks are trying to do some technical analysis, and some of that's probably the most accurate way to handle these. But as far as fundamental analysis, right now they're trading on very, very shaky ground with the number of holders that are holding these stocks at this particular juncture. I use the analogy of playing blackjack and sitting at a table where everybody at the table doesn't know how to play blackjack, and I'm the only one. So I'm just sitting here like, Jesus, all these guys are setting sell orders from below where they're buying the stock, and it's planned failure on a stock that's trending down, right? So you have thousands upon thousands of people doing that, and it just exacerbates the selling. All the while, the company is winning contracts behind the scenes. They're scaling up production, which if you asked people a month ago what it was that they were going to be doing post-merger, that would have been the very answer that we would have provided. We'd have been like, we're going to entering into a hiring period. We're going to enter into a period of understanding what they can handle in their order capacity, which is super, super important. Super excited at the prospects of this particular holding, but there is an underlying lesson certainly for all those investors out there that are looking to get involved in the stock market. And man alive, I wish everybody could make their way to my message, because if they do just take a couple seconds to sit back and just listen to what I'm talking about, I think maybe you could look at it and say, I get it, Ryan. I hear with what you're saying. I have conviction about this, and I'm going to enter into the stock. I would come back and say, well, if you really listen to me, maybe you don't need 1,500 shares of the company. Maybe you can do 10. What is your strategic goal with entering into an aggressive, over-levered position of 1,500 shares, as opposed to just being an investor in the company? And it doesn't mean that you have to sit on that 10 shares indefinitely. It just means that you're giving yourself a fighting chance if the stock does adjust back on you, contrary to what you're thinking really hard that the stock is going to do, to maybe even double up the position, right? Maybe even triple up the position, whatever it is you want to do. But I think it speaks to a broader fundamental lesson of maybe just scaling into certain positions. That's exactly what I've done. And it's a technique that I've deployed throughout over 25 years of investing in the market. kind of cringe sometimes when I hear word that people have just jumped in with both feet into a position. Advanced investors can do it as long as they have that defined risk before they make the jump. Okay. And I do contend that there's a lot of investors out there that don't understand what they're getting into before they get into it until they're too late, right? Until they're too late. And then you're kind of backed into a corner. We want to try to establish some levels of discipline to allow you to win in both up and down market. Okay. And we're going to continue to push out that message to get to those folks to make sure that the masses have a fighting chance in all of the different disciplines in the stock market. All right. I'm not one of those guys. I had one of the subscribers to the message come in and say, I hate ARK ETFs. I came out with an ARK ETF video that I probably took the most abuse on in the channel. I don't hate ARK ETF. I give proper credence and prudence to what Kathy Wood is doing over there, investing in those names. I was merely pointing out the expense over the account, right? And to understand the risk associated with that, okay? And to each his own. If it fits into your portfolio, I know I could make an ARK ETF fit into my portfolio 100%, right? It's really just to bring awareness to the stock market and products that are available, and always look at them through the prism of a defensive, self-directed investor. Okay. Self-directed investors don't need to be those that are just jumping like hopscotch on every single opportunity that comes around. You'll end up getting burned eventually. But I think deploying some discipline and really objectively looking at it and saying, you know what? I hear you, Ryan, but I disagree. I'm 24. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to establish some nice, safe total market ETFs, perhaps, maybe even a growth fund for myself. Maybe a VUG will work, right? Vanguard's growth. But I am interested in this disruptive technology, right? Take a stab at it, okay? As long as you've thought through those deliberations, control it, why invest in the product, how much of a time frame do you have for that particular product, what is your tolerance to risk, what is your defined risk over that product, and what is your scale to enter into that particular product. How many of you guys can honestly say that you can, off the cuff, like I just did from memory, okay? Actually, I got it off of my teleprompter. I'm just kidding. It comes right off the cuff. How many of you guys can actually bring that stuff off the cuff like I did with the discipline that I do, okay? Because like I've said before, man, investing is almost like taking a t-ball player, somebody who's never played baseball before, and putting them into the major leagues and having them stare down a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and saying, you need to be a 300 hitter, okay? There is no minor leagues, all right? There are opportunities to paper trade, yes. There are books that are written to educate yourself up, but there's also applications out there, Robinhood, that can be downloaded in 5 minutes. So why don't I just circumvent all that other crap and just go right for the mustard, right? I want to jump in head first, man. Everybody else is making money. I want to make money too. Okay. I heard about this Hyliion thing from a guy at work today. It was just so incredible of an opportunity. I've got to just go jump into the stock, but because he says it's a good investment. All right. Just take a pause. That's all you got to do. Approach investing from a diplomatic perspective. You'll be so much happier. And you'll start to separate the fact that this whole day-to-day price target garbage and, oh my God, the stock is going to this, the stock is going to that. Like, what are you doing with your time? If you're truly long-term about your program and your investing thesis, then why is it that we constantly have to have injects and satisfy our mental aptitude every single second of every single day? I think it's consuming and I think it's unhealthy. So get your program right, wrap your mind around a disciplined approach to investing, and you'd be so much better that you did, guys. I'm going to spend the last section of the live stream. If nobody wants to kick in here, I will drop my last invite. Otherwise, I will handle the stream myself this evening. So good to be with you guys, man. We got almost 88. I don't see what the thumbs up is. If you guys want to go ahead and kick some support my way, that'd be totally awesome. If not, no big deal. You don't have to. I don't really care. Hit the thumbs down. That'd be cool. That'd be something different, right? If you don't want to give support and hit the thumbs up, go ahead and hit the thumbs down, man. That'd be awesome too. Very cool. I'm going to cruise to the top here and see if I can't call some of these folks out. Got New York investor in the house for sure. Appreciate it. And I've already give proper acknowledgement here. Ethos Investing's in the house. Some of those seasoned investors, and I'm just proud to know them. I was speaking today at work about how solid this network is, and whether or not I'm going to be sitting in the chair 20 years from now doing YouTube videos, I don't know. It's yet to be seen. Who knows? You could have never, ever told me where this project was going to go 3 years ago, and you couldn't tell me where this project is going to be 3 years from now. But I certainly value relationships like Dan, and right below Dave with Hidden Freedom Investing is another one. Absolutely. It's great to see you guys, man. And Randy right below with Retire with Options. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate your time and coming in here and supporting the message for a quick few minutes on a Friday. This is a drop in the bucket. It really is. And it kind of goes against my long-term thesis anyway. Like, I don't come on the live stream and look to put on a show. I really don't. I look to strike up a conversation. I don't spend my time scripting this. I don't spend a whole heck of a lot of time putting together an agenda. I don't. Because I think investing should be a methodical and longer term project. So I approach investing the same way I approach the live stream. And to get a little bit of an awareness piece once a week, I think is prudent. I think it's I think it fits. And I think you guys appreciate it. I know I have a good time with it. I really do. Alex with Blood Phantoms in the house for sure. One of those great young minds for sure, deploys a very interesting strategy, more along the option side of the house, but interesting nonetheless. He's wealth building. Yeah, so he cool with me, right? He's identified and carved out a piece for what works with him. And very few investors do I come across very often. A lot of these channel and content creators in the group and a lot of subscribers to the message are really starting to do that. And the title of this video is The Investing Challenge. It really is. And I really want you guys to ask yourself this very simple question. If you don't remember anything that I've ranted on for 60 minutes, I would encourage you to take this away from the live stream. I know a lot of you guys, you challenge yourself in a lot of different ways: eat healthier, drink less, quit smoking, exercise more, etc., improve certain aspects of your life, etc. When was the last time that you asked yourself, name one thing that you could look to improve in your investing application? So that's my challenge to you. And I know that there's at least a pretty good chance that there's somebody who's making their way to the Independent Investor live stream, at least one for the first time. So great. I'm speaking to you. My goal is to empower one investor at a time. Are you going to be that investor that takes that investing challenge and is like, I never really thought about investing as being part of my life. I never really prescribed to be a wealth builder. I want money. I want money. I want to be rich. How can I get there? Is investing a viable option? Well, learn a few disciplines and then answer that question for yourself. Don't come into a YouTube channel like myself or any of these others, and especially across the YouTube, and expect them to wave a magic wand and make it happen for you, because I'm here to give you the absolute truth about investing. Your success in investing is going to be solely on you. On you. It's not going to be that right mixture of a little bit of J-Mac and a little bit of Ryan with the Independent, and I'll throw a little Ethos in there and I'll spackle a little Hidden Freedom Investing on there. It ain't going to work that way, guys. It's not. I don't hang out with these cats for that reason. I don't. Teaching investing makes me a better investor. There's no doubt about it. It makes me a better steward in the game. Everybody in this group that's a channel creator and a subscriber would agree with that. All we're trying to do is up your awareness to the investing game. And if you are one of those investors out there that are new to the game, take on the investing challenge. You'll be glad you did, and you'll remember it as an impasse in your life. You'll look back on it as one of the best decisions that you've ever made. It's a very, very common thing amongst the elderly community that I speak with. Ryan, I wish I would have invested more. I wish I would have saved more for my financial future. I wish I would have spent less. I didn't need all the stuff that I was buying at the time that I was buying it. I didn't need all that crap. I wish I would have just had a little perspective on this gig and put that money away, because in retrospect, I didn't really need that stuff anyway. And I didn't need the money. So putting that capital to risk and subjecting that capital to the risk in 2020, boom, right? Global pandemic, boom, we've got an election year, all these things, all of these, oh my God, I picked the wrong stock, all of it, the whole kit and caboodle, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. And it's not worth it in the short term. It will be worth it when 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, maybe even some of you folks that are making your way to the channel that have that long-term horizon, it will all be worth it if in reflection of your life, you took that investing challenge on yourself and you asked yourself, do I consider investing to be a priority in my life? And I'll leave that rhetorically up to you guys. All right. HM Investor in the house dropping some knowledge. And this is really cool. I actually tried to comment on this on YouTube and it wouldn't allow me, so I apologize for that. It's a pretty good mix of assets there for sure. You know, the VOO and the VTI are kind of the flagship. You got VWO, which is emerging markets, VEA, which is developed markets, Europe, yes, and VB here with the bonds as well. So pretty good mix here. I'm pretty familiar with the Vanguard's product. And the rest of these here, QQQ sticks out as well. That's another crowd favorite, what I really like as well. I own the Vanguard's technology fund in my sector portfolio, which is kind of funny. I haven't looked at that portfolio for quite some time. And it's nice to know that those assets buckets are there working for me, and knowing that I don't have to put a whole lot of attention in them. I will give you my market pulse right now, guys. I have not bought a stock in well over a month. I take that back. I probably have strategically bought just recently another 180 warrants for Hyliion. But as far as big company, mega cap stocks, I have bought none, zero. It just speaks to my ability to engage, boom, 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 engage when it's time to engage, but then retract and be an investor. Look, if investing is going to be with you the rest of your life, how much of that do you really understand and internalize? Do you have the ability to be a first gear investor, which is what you should be in most of the time? Yeah, there's a time to ramp up in sixth gear. That was a really hard decision for me to render the Hyliion shares. I had 600 shares. I rendered them. I only made 33 grand on that trade. And most of people who don't know the context surrounding that trade knows that I left 20 grand on the table, right? Because my bullish thesis didn't play out. That's totally fine. My thought was to sell at 26 and a half, render and lock in that profit, and then roll into and lower my cost basis by entering into the Hyliion warrants. Now the company has to do the right thing, and we need to get that S1 filed with the SEC. I'll be monitoring the SEC's website on Hyliion's behalf on November 2nd. We'll see what shakes. I hope they do the right thing there, and I'm provided the options that I think I should be afforded as a warrant holder. So to either take the cash option or go ahead and exercise those and pay the premium to get the common shares. So I've provided myself a couple options. Whether or not I do kind of a hybrid mix of cash option or convert and exercise completely to common shares I'm still monitoring it. But those are the two options right now. And it'll probably be a hybrid mix of both, depending on the tax implication, right? If I take the cash option and the brokerage account, that will create a taxable account. So it's actually better to convert those even in the taxable account, because that will not constitute a taxable event. So in the Roth IRAs where I own both highly on warrants, that'll give me the option to do either one. Either take profit on the cash option side or go ahead and pay the premium and convert those warrants. And I've had a few people hit me up and they're like, Ryan, the broker's going to hit you with a fee. It's $30. Okay, guys, at this point, I don't sweat a $30 fee for a block of conversion highly on shares. Okay, especially when I've been able to lower my cost basis in the way that I've calculated that I can. I've got a cost basis of around 19 and a half actually on some of the warrants, and upwards of around $25 at the high point. Stocks trading at around $23. Make it got really close to $22 a share at closing today on the dip. But a little bit on the negative on the conversion on the 25 high cost basis side, but absolutely still in the black a little bit on the 19 cost basis. So I'm going to continue to hold and be an investor. To be honest with you, from an overall portfolio perspective, 2020 has been somewhat of a disappointing year for me. And it has really nothing to do with this, and has really nothing to do with the nice trade I made on Boeing. Some of the value plays have really underperformed the market. I think, and right now is an underperformance right now for me. I openly declare this to you guys because I don't really care. It's the truth. And if there's any investors out there who are like, wow, Ryan's got a lot of courage to come on and say he underperforms the market when in an environment where it's extremely sexy to come on that your stock portfolio outperforms the market. I just want to point out that stark reality of even a guy like myself who pays as much attention and really does know what he's looking at in the market can absolutely stumble on a couple pitfalls. You guys remember that old Atari video game? Yeah, little pill pitfall. It happens. It's investing, man. All right. It's investing, and we'll live to fight another year. We'll see what happens. I got Mr. Bob in the house. I'll be lurking again tonight, man. I hope you're feeling better, my brother. I hope you're feeling better. Absolutely. A shout out to you, man. I hope everything's well and you're healing up well. All goods right above it, man. There's very cool. Do not disturb. I want to try to get to the bottom here and spend some real time here on giving these ample shout outs. We got the West Coast connection here with Lydia Santiago in the house. Fantastic. It's great to see you, as well as Mr. Ben. Special guest, I don't know. That's why I put up a question mark by it. That means that anybody's welcome. So I never know who is going to come by and say hello. I just think it'd be funny. And I kick the door open. It's an open invitation. Anybody can come in here. I'm a public channel. I don't censor my comments. I don't do any of that crap. I don't really care. If you'd like to come on and spend your time spitting venom at me, you can. That's totally fine. Spend your time how you want to spend your time. It's very cool. I got I love the intro too. I like my intro too. I always get kind of pumped when I get to fire it off. Very cool. Very cool. I'll bring Junior on. Junior's popped in here, man. Junior's always game, man. Junior is born ready to go all the time. That's because he's VIP in the independent investor community. Why? Why is he VIP? Because he's empowered. That's why. He believes in his program, and he's taken the investing challenge, that of which that I talked about, and he understands the importance of saving for his future. And I don't know. Maybe Junior would have found another YouTube channel that would have provided that same level of encouragement. But if I can take a small little piece of credit, and if he would say, yeah, Ryan, thank you for just providing that awareness. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to connect the dots for people and get them kicked off on this opportunity. So I'll bring Junior on. That'll free me up a little bit to get to some of these comments for sure and let him say hello to the group. You got me, man? How's your audio? You got it? Nope, no audio. It's all right. I'll let you dial it in. You're on mute, brother. There you go. Now you're good. I don't got you. Give me a test. It's all good. I'll let you troubleshoot it, man. You're all good. You got to get this technology down if you're going to run a YouTube channel, bro. Look at you, man. There's no do-overs on this, man. This is live stream, Junior. Live stream. I can't rewind this sucker. What you expect me to do? I'll let you troubleshoot it, man. I'll let you troubleshoot it and just stay in the theater, man. That's awesome, man. It's like a big family here in the community on Independent Investor Channel for sure. I'm kind of thumbing through here, man. Mr. Eric Weber's always been really nice supporter of the channel as well, man. And kind of cool, man. I fall back on some of those relationships and really do appreciate the support because obviously the upload schedule has been, I've taken 8 days off of YouTube and I don't apologize for that. No freaking way. I take that time because I need it. I can't do what this cat does. I can't do that. And he young. I told him I don't have any sympathy for him, but he's hustling. I'm proud of him for sure. I think maybe some of the wind has been pushed out of my sails with when I was that age and working hard doing my thing for sure. Now I'm proud of all these guys that are seeing the opportunity to share their story, and the more people we can get sharing their investing story, the more motivated people are gonna get. And it doesn't matter if you hear it from Kyle or you hear it from myself. The common theme is very, very simple. How is it that you can take this gig and how is it that you can make it yours? Okay. Because what I said at the top of the stream, I freaking meant. I don't expect people to tune into Kyle and just trip and fall head over heels and just try to copy his portfolio. You're not getting the point. He would tell you the same. He would agree with me. You got to try to carve out what is important about this opportunity for yourself. All right. Just like what Junior Stock Investor has done. Now I got you. See, it ain't that hard. You got a new webcam, don't you? You crisp, man.
I know this is embarrassing. This is the third time. I remember the first time I ever went on your channel. Remember what was you, me, and Jamie had a problem. I don't know what it is, man. If I had my own channel, people would unsubscribe already.
Yeah, but it's me, and you know how I handle that, man. I value relationships. You know what I'm saying? If somebody doesn't want to catch the live stream and come together for 60 minutes, they can go somewhere else, man. They've got 3 financial education channels to choose from now. If they want to go there, they're totally welcome to do there. It won't hurt my feelings. It won't. All right, it won't hurt my feelings. That's an inside joke. If you guys want to kick over and check that out, you certainly can. He's talking in Financial Education 3. It's his 3rd channel. He's actually finally talking about his favorite topic. Finally. So if you're interested in what that topic is, you can kick over there and check it out because I'm not going to spoil the surprise. It wasn't surprising to me. Good to see you, Junior. What's going on, Mike?
Good, man. Thank you for having me on tonight. I want to say what's up to everybody on the live stream tonight. Hopefully everyone has a good day today. I'm excited for next week because that's the big earnings with Apple, I believe Amazon.
That's right.
Facebook is reporting. So pretty much the top companies in S&P 500 are reporting.
Facebook in 2020 has just been a silent beast. It's been a warrior. Facebook is one of those top growth, top the line, best value earnings plays. Every single company that you can look at, Junior, especially when you're evaluating a company on a singular perspective or a standalone perspective, you can find bearish thesis on, and I can with Facebook. However, I'm a pretty big shareholder in Facebook and have been for a while. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wasn't tempted at 140 during the March lows.
Yeah,
man, that was Yeah, but the thing about it is, Junior, it speaks to my broader point about if I know you're bullish on the company and you'd like it, those need to be looked upon as opportunities, and you need to be saving for those opportunities now because you're up big in the company right now. You're bullish on Facebook. You're a long-term holder. What happens tomorrow or what happens next week or next month or next year isn't going to phase you. I've known you now for a while. It's not going to phase you. But I think the defensive and even the offensive perspective on how you look to invest for the long term, as opposed to the short term, which is what this live stream is about, is to always continue to raise that dry powder and put yourself in a position to add some more. Yep.
Yeah, and when I mentioned before, a couple weeks ago, Facebook has a moat. It's the biggest social media.
Yeah.
It has the biggest market share in that space in social media. Whether people talk about, TikTok or Snap, Facebook has the best balance sheet. They have Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus is going to be big. And the CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, is a beast. I know a lot of people don't like him personally, but I don't care about
I,
personally. I care
I
about
like him.
business. He's a beast, man. And I think he's
I
my
like
age. I think
him.
he's only
Yeah.
34. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah, he's your
He's
age. He's
young.
a young kid. I like Sheryl
Yeah,
Sandberg, actually, to be honest with you.
yeah,
But, the techies that you never hear about. I mean, where do you think all the best technology engineers and all the software folks, where do you think all those guys want to work? They want to work at Google. They want to work at Facebook. And, you know, they changed the
yeah,
world. No big deal.
yeah,
Remember how advertising used to work, driving up and down the freeway, looking up at the big billboard. Facebook has
yeah,
revolutionized that whole concept the same way Apple has revolutionized the Walkman. You guys remember
yeah.
those? Remember the Discman? I just used to
Oh,
think that it was the coolest thing when I could take all my music and put it onto a little thing and I could carry it around with it. The coolest thing ever, man. All the young generation are probably like, freaking old fogey. What are you talking about, man? But it's exciting times, man. And
yeah,
God, I tell you, the only regret that I have with Facebook is not buying it at 18. I remember sitting at a Greek restaurant when Facebook went IPO and it had that initial dip. A lot of the same way Hyliion's doing right now, actually.
yeah,
And it dipped all the way to 18. And I remember sitting across from a colleague of mine and I was like, you know what? If you could just pick up this company right now, $1,000, put $1,000 into it right now, this is the one right here. And
yeah.
that would have
Well,
been it for sure.
and it's still, if obviously I'm going to hold it long term. I'm only 34, so I'm going to hold it until I retire. It's going to be, and by that time, it's going to be just obviously a lot bigger than it is now. And the thing with me is like I've always been just a dividend investor, so I was never really a growth investor until I did my research. So I just wanted to tell anybody, if you're strictly just dividends, branch out to some growth investments. Not Apple, Amazon, Google, any one of those spaces, PayPal too, of course, like,
You
branch out. And
you have a program through your work, don't you, Junior?
no,
Do
no,
you?
I don't. My job, my old 401k, I rolled it over to an IRA, so I don't even have a 401k for my job because I deliver oil, so I never
I
their
see.
their their company match wasn't even a match. If for instance, if I put 5%, they only put 1.5%. So for me, I just wanted to do it on my own and just open up an IRA instead. And it's
Yeah,
more fun
gotcha.
too that way. I love looking at individual stocks.
I know
My
you do
Visas and all that. Johnson and Johnson. I
for
have
sure, for sure.
Microsoft too. I have a big position. So
Yeah, and you're obviously very savvy in the companies that you justify taking position in. That's a maturity that I wish a lot of people when they step into the market could have that level of maturity because even companies like that, they do move, Junior. I mean,
yeah.
they've got price volatility, etc. But you're in the
Well,
best of the best. I own all those companies too, and it's not rocket science. Don't make this thing harder than it needs to be. You know.
I always tell people too, like if especially if it's in a retirement account and the companies I've mentioned, you have nothing to worry about. These are companies that people rely on every day. If like I said, if you watch, obviously not just TV, but on Google and everything, look at the advertising, right? They're always
Yeah,
advertising either Facebook, PayPal,
that's right.
obviously Microsoft, NFL right now, the number one software they use is Microsoft, right? You look at, if you watch football, everybody in the
Yeah.
sideline has the Microsoft tablet. So if you understand, like, hey, if everyone's using it and it's in my retirement account, you have nothing to worry about. And they're worth $1 trillion, right? Microsoft, like, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
I'm not
this has been the year of
because
the $1 trillion companies, man. It's been an interesting 2020 has just been it's been an interesting
crazy
year,
year.
man. I think it's fair to say that going forward to expect the unexpected is
Hmm.
probably fair. I really do. I want to shout out to Marie with Minds in Motion. She's the newest member
Oh,
of the Viper group. Had a meeting with her this week as well. It was super, super enjoyable for me. Just opens up a whole nother envelope for me. I feel like I know you guys when you come into the community, but I don't get to know somebody until I get to sit across like we're doing, Junior, but on a
mm,
private session. And she was the last patron of that. And I would hope, again, I contend that I don't get to define the level of my own success on the independent investor channel. That in fact lies with the community members, and Marie is
yeah,
one of those. And I would hope that she would say that was very enjoyable for her, and I
nice,
know
man.
I enjoyed it. Just man, we're using the power of social media for sure to reach people, and it's I couldn't
Yeah,
couldn't be more happy with the progress. Yeah.
yeah, you definitely are. And like I mentioned before, if you can get me on a Friday night, you're doing something good. Because usually Friday nights. Well, I actually have my IPA. I haven't been drinking it because I wanted to slow down from last time. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna have one. I'm gonna have one after I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I've been good
you
in
definitely should.
2020, man, and I broke down and bought a few beers the other day. First time this year, because I don't
Yeah.
drink very much beer because it's not very good for me. It doesn't react well with me. But I've treated myself, man. I'm gonna think of you tonight, man, because you're my IPA guy. But listen, man, you're always welcome if you could just figure out the whole technological thing. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
that
saying?
was yeah. Well, I'm using my phone, but I think what happened was I had my phone the volume lowered, so I apologize for that. But
Oh, you don't need to apologize, man. Come on, man. This is social media. We got to kick it like this is a cool way for us to socialize, man. To be honest with you,
yeah,
you know, kind of a
and I
cool way
was
to get together and and
yeah.
that's the thing is I don't know. Have you ever told anybody about the Independent Investor Channel, Junior?
Yeah, I actually oh, now that you mention it, there's a channel creator, guys. His channel name is the Dream Green Team. I can't.
Dream
I
Dream.
think it's,
So Junior's about to promote another channel on the Independent
yeah,
Investor channel. Go ahead, Junior. Go ahead.
yeah,
Promote away.
the Dream Green team show. Oh my God, I gotta. The, oh my God, but
I was
Jesus,
trying to
I'm
give
so
myself a plug there. I really was. I was
yeah,
like, hey, man, throw me a bone a little bit. I'm working real hard here, but nah,
yeah.
nah,
But
no. But you
now he
do.
has a
You're pulsed into a lot of other channels on the landscape too, Junior. You're kind of a
yeah.
student to the game too. I do
Well, I like
appreciate that about you.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I watch
Mm,
either small channels, people that have small channels or even big channels. But this particular guy, I apologize. He had a story today about I guess he has this dyslexia. So he actually talked about it on YouTube, and it was actually touching because that takes a lot of courage for somebody to talk about that on YouTube. And his channel is obviously investing
that's
and
cool.
everything, and it's actually a cool channel. So if you guys check it out. Um,
That's
but yeah,
cool.
I wish I had the Dream Green show. I'm sure somebody on the live chat probably knows who he is, and they might put it on the
What
comments.
what you
He's
think
from
about that
Houston.
independent? What you think about that independent investor character? He's pretty good too. He's all right.
He's pretty
He's all
good.
right. Hold his own. Fair enough.
He,
Fair enough.
he does
Long as
he doesn't like
long as
a
we can
certain
get the
individual. I was gonna say he doesn't like a certain individual out there, but it's all good though.
it's all good. And listen, I've solved that problem. I just think it's self-serving, and that's great. There's a lot of people out
Yeah,
there that would be like all the power too. You know what I'm saying? Take advantage of an opportunity. I'm just not like that.
yeah,
I don't really genuinely sit across sometimes and observe somebody that's genuinely happy. I don't. And it speaks to a deeper understanding that I have about social media and being a little bit careful in getting caught up in your own world and
yeah,
thinking maybe that you're bigger than what you are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What
I
like
hear you.
where's your objective? Is your objective to imagine the world like you're part at the top of the pyramid and everybody else is below you? Watch the new
Yeah.
content. You'll see what I mean. Because I did. I watched one just the other night. Haven't watched it for 8 months. And saw
Oh,
it, and I
wow,
was
yeah,
like, wow, what a nice surprise. We've got FI3. Not that the first two were enough. We need to entertain the world with three of them. Um, But no, it's not my favorite. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. There's just a few comments there that come across, and it tells me a lot about where the guy comes from. That's all. So he's
Yeah,
making his millions. That's awesome. Good on him. That's awesome.
yeah,
Great.
yeah. I always tell people, at the end of the day, always do your research, and just not with just stocks too. Always have your mind set on different things as well too. Because I think sometimes people, especially young investors, want the quick buck, the penny stocks, and I get it. I was young at that point, but
Yeah.
you got to be patient because if not, you end up losing. What was I
I
saying?
gotta
First
hit. I
time
gotta
money.
hit. I gotta hit this up. This
Is
is
this
not a
a day
date. This
trading?
is not a. It's not a. It's not a day trading channel. Um, it's first of all, welcome. It's your first time
Yeah.
here. It's awesome. I will say this. Congratulations for making your way to the Independent Investor channel. I'm an empowered investor. I seek my exposure to the market because I invest on my own. Okay, that's what my channel is about. And a lot of people would say, well, a lot of people invest on their own. That's true. Um,
Mhm.
Not very many people invest on their own in the capacity that I prescribe to. But a lot of people do seek out their exposure through an intermediary, that being like a financial planner, for etc. And the niche on my channel is about exploiting the opportunities through tax protection and wealth preservation, the lowering of fees and expenses within a retirement account or a brokerage account, whatever it may be, to seek out your exposure to the market. I do dabble in a little bit of swing trading activity to generate a little bit of income in my portfolio. But for the most part, we speak about very, very specific strategies in the stock market, one being passive investing and the other being dividend growth investing. Those are two of the most common investing strategies that you can deploy and the ones that you can honestly succeed at the best. In other words, if I gave you a basket and that basket started with the Dow Jones Industrial 30, and I said, here you go, build a portfolio out of these 30 stocks, but you can only choose from these 30 stocks and you can only build a portfolio of 10 stocks. I don't care what mix of those 10 stocks you picked out of the Dow 30, the diamonds of the stock market, and put those into a retirement account that was tax protected and wealth preserved.
Yep.
In other words, you're enjoying the opportunity through free investing now to allow those retirement accounts to grow, holding the very best of what the stock market has to offer. That's dividend growth investing. On the passive side, it's a lot easier than that. It's for those investors that don't want to have a lot of oversight over their program. And that way, it allows you to curtail the products in the market by looking at the S&P 500, looking at total market, ETFs, maybe even dabbling in some international exposure, small cap, mid cap, etc. And that way you can just build a portfolio that's good for you and just set it up for the long time. That's what my channel's about. And thank you, RG Titan. That's actually a very, very good question. I appreciate you
Yeah.
leaving it in the
And
comment section.
and what you said is actually a lot less work than day trading. I've never day traded personally, but from what I
Yeah.
heard, day trading takes a lot of work, and and you can obviously you can gain a lot, but you also lose a lot too.
Most people lose.
Depend.
I
Yeah.
typically don't like to codify swing day trading in that way
Mm,
by saying you can win a lot or you can lose a lot. Most people lose a lot. Okay,
yeah.
there's very, very few in that game that win, and even the winners also lose a lot. Okay,
Taxes.
so it,
That
it,
tax
it's
bill.
it's a feudal game, and it's one of those things. Unfortunately, a lot of people define investing that way. They think that because they've got to get involved in investing, they have to find that next best thing. I
Yeah.
wish new investors would approach it structurally. I really do. Junior, I'm coming up on 60, man. I'll drag you out of the
Okay.
live stream, but I'll thank you before I do. Appreciate you
All
coming
right.
by. Be
Thank
safe
you
with
for
your
having
work
me,
and all
man.
that. Absolutely. We'll catch you next week, my brother. Take it easy up there.
All
All
right.
right. Be well,
Take care,
brother.
my brother.
Yeah, man. Later. Yeah, so we've got a little less than a minute. I do apologize. I couldn't get to the rest of these questions. Got Ashley Gonzalez in the house here. That's very cool. Very cool. Appreciate you guys making your way in here. Scanning through to make sure in the last few seconds Juan Bentoncourt, man, thank you for making your way on. I've been following you all for a few months. Welcome to the community. There's no doubt about it. You're not going to hear one thing in any specific inject of time from this community that just outright changes your life, nor do I even believe that that's possible. But if you give it a chance, I think you'll find that some of the fundamental things that we touch on very frequently will allow you to make investing more of a priority in your life. So Juan, thank you and welcome to the channel. Very cool stuff, man. I don't want to cut into the gent's time very much here, but I do want to take and thank you guys. I really, really thank you for making your way in here. We do this every Friday. I do have it planned next Friday as well. And I'm going to drop an invite here at the very bottom. If some of you guys want to kick in and talk to me behind the scenes when we're off the live stream, I'm dropping it in there right now. There it is. It's at the very bottom of the thread. If you guys want to kick in here and rap with me behind the scenes, I'd usually have a few minutes before I kick on and support the gents on the other channel. If you guys do feel the need, kick on there. Support Kyle and Matt in their initiative, man. They are my brothers from another mother, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time tonight and want to wish everybody well. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll catch you next Friday for the 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time Independent Investor Channel live stream, guys. Thank you so much. Be well.